Physician, heal thyself. Hi, I'm Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. And today the subject is a statement from the Bible, Physician, heal yourself. Now yesterday, this is where it came from. Yesterday I found myself in a negative state of mind. The day was filled with one surprise after another. And they weren't my usual string of positive coincidences, also known as synchronicities. No, the positives were not there. In fact, the opposite was the story of the day. I was confronted with one negative event after another negative event. I must admit that I was briefly rattled. So I decided to take a nap, because at that moment there was nothing that I could do to physically change anything. So I shut it all out of my consciousness and I went to sleep. And when I awoke a couple hours later, I heard the words, "Physician, heal thyself." Please click on the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. I would love to hear from you, your comments, your questions, your suggestions. Please use the chat box on the right side of the screen or the comment section below the video. Also, you can support this ministry, and I totally appreciate your support. You can support this ministry by going to my website, bozemandevelopment.com, and clicking on the Please Donate link. Or you can choose the Cash App and use the tag $Andre Amron. Really appreciate that. Thank you. So when I awoke from my nap of healing, because I was at a loss for what to do about the downward spiral of my day, I was reminded of a couple of things. First, I remembered a phrase that my wife likes to use when things during the day seem to be going in a negative direction. She calls it the day that was no. So whenever the day appears to be heading in a negative direction, my wife Sandy immediately says, "This is the day that was no." Now, giving it that label seems to have an effect of separating it out and encapsulating it in its own state of existence. That splits it away from the rest of her life and turns the day into an anomaly. That label designates the day as something that is out of the ordinary and therefore outside of normality. So it doesn't have to become a contagious occurrence, and it doesn't have to affect the rest of her days, because it's just the day that was no, all by itself. I thought that was great. The next thing that came to my mind was the statement, "Physician, heal thyself." Now, physician, heal thyself comes from the Bible. Specifically, it can be found in the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 23, where Jesus quotes a phrase that was commonly used back in by the Hebrews back in those days, which was, "Ye will surely say unto me this proverb, Physician, heal thyself." Now, as I said, that was a term that was commonly used by the Hebrews back in those days, and it was based on the premise, excuse me, that before a physician can heal, adequately cure somebody else's diseases, that physician must first cure his own diseases. You know, it's just like, that's like the statement in the Bible, before you pull the splinter out of someone else's eye, remove the beam from your own. So Jesus used that statement at that time because he was speaking to a hometown crowd, and they weren't hearing it. They weren't accepting him as a prophet or a healer. They weren't accepting him at all, because this was the carpenter's son. They had seen him grow up. They had seen, all the things that he was in his childhood and his teenage years. So They could not make the mental transition from the carpenter's son to the powerful healer that he had become, that everybody in the other towns was talking about with high praise. So they they dismissed him. And that led to his next statement, which was in Luke chapter 4, verse 24, which was, "Truly I tell you, no prophet is accepted in his own country." Yeah, you just can't get over that sometimes. You will always be the carpenter's son. So basically what yesterday's events brought to me was a very painful and clear reminder that no matter how fervently I pray, or how habitually I meditate, or how focused I am on connecting with infinite intelligence, I am still going to have bad days. That's just a fact. I'm still going to have bad days. That's because I am living here on earth, on the physical plane. So no matter how spiritual I am, I'm still here in a human body, having a human experience. Remember, earth is a training ground. We come here to experience life, and we come here to learn lessons that strengthen us as spiritual beings. Training means pain. Training means mistakes. Training means trial and error. Training means that we're going to get it wrong before we get it right. So, failure is built into the equation, right? You just can't get around it. Failure on this plane is built into the equation. We are on earth. We are in physical life. It's all part of the process. So the lesson here is, do not get discouraged when things don't go right. Don't curse the gods when you lose an account, or when you get sick, or when your project crashes into embarrassing dust. It's part of the process. It's just a test. It's only a test. This is a test. It is only a test. It can be overcome. It is not the end of the world. It is merely an obstacle put in your way to see if you can figure out a way to get around it, to overcome it. So when you find yourself faced with some of the adversity that you didn't expect, do not panic. If you panic, you'll fall right back into a state of mind that you lived in before you realized that you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence, before you realize that you are actually a spiritual being having a human experience. But you don't want to fall back into that pit. The path we have embarked upon, this spiritual path, is an uphill path. We're climbing to the heights of spiritual consciousness, which is very much akin to mountain climbing. So no matter how high you successfully climb, there is always the chance that you will slip and fall. It's just part of the process. So how far you fall depends on the safety line tied to you. Your safety line is the core beliefs that you have stored in your subconscious. Remember, your subconscious is the place where all your bad habits and behaviors and conditioned beliefs from childhood are stored. They're there. They're still all there. So when life knocks you down, your subconscious is going to be tempted to automatically revert to those old, tired, negative beliefs that have lived there for most of your life. That is what it wants to do. But if you have successfully inserted into your subconscious the truth that you are divinely connected to infinite intelligence, and that your mind is an instrument of spirit that has gained the power through prayer and meditation to connect you to something greater than yourself, and gives you the knowledge that you are not alone. Because of that, you have access to energy and power that is not affected by the external forces that we call outer reality or life. Not affected. It's always there. It's steady. So instead, it has the strength and solid foundation that prevents anything in your outer reality, anything in your life, anything, no thing, no person, no condition, at any place or any time, from erasing that deep awareness of who you really are. It cannot be erased. Once it is inserted and really locked in, that knowledge, that awareness of who and what you really are, even in bad times, it's still there. It's not going to be knocked out. And it's there for you to refer to. It is there for you to grab hold of. That is your lifeline. That is your lifeline. So when you fall, when you slip and fall, you are not going to experience a descent all the way back down into the pit. No, your fall is going to be short and temporary. And you will be able to quickly recover from those inevitable slips, and you can continue your upward spiritual climb. Once it's there, once it's firmly there, it's always there. So I repeat to you, physician, heal yourself. So when your fall comes, the possibility is always there. The fall is always a possible thing. But when your fall comes, you will not free fall back into the pit, because you will remember that you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. You will remember that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. So you're always connected. You're never separated. The next step after you've got your lifeline of awareness is forgive yourself. That's right. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for that brief moment of panic. Forgive yourself for the doubt you felt when that event occurred. Forgive yourself for the loss of faith that briefly had your mind scrambling for something to do. There must be something I can do to fix this. Only you find out that there's nothing there. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for that fear that you felt when things turned bad. Forgive yourself because that fear that you felt takes you into a state of stress. And when you're in a state of stress, it turns off your brain and your ability to think clearly. So of course you're not going to find a solution. Your mind is no longer working. Forgive yourself. Let go of that shame and blame and guilt. Let go of it. What you did, that fear was only a human reaction. So now forgive yourself. Drop it like it's hot so that you can move on. Drop it. Release it. Forgive yourself. Next, after you've forgiven yourself, turn off the outside physical world. Turn your back on it. The answer's not there. So turn your back on that external physical world. Instead, go within and reconnect with spirit, because that's where the answer is. And spirit can only be reached through your subconscious. And your subconscious can only be reached when you go quiet. When you shut out the outside world and you go quiet. Now my way of doing it yesterday was I took a nap. But you might, if you don't want to try a nap, you might try meditating, or taking a walk, or sitting on the porch and listening to the birds, or working in the garden, or turning on some relaxing music. Any one of those can work to shut off the conscious mind and its conscious panic. Shutting off your mind, your conscious mind, and going into a meditative state opens the door to your subconscious. And the subconscious is like your operating system for your mind and body. It's there where the most powerful and profound changes in your life are made in the subconscious. It is through your subconscious that infinite intelligence can feed you its loving, healing energy to revive you and re-energize you. It is through your subconscious that you can come out of the state of panic, that you can come out of the fear, that you can come out of the doubt, that you can come out of that negative state of events and become re-empowered. Because once you come out of that meditative state, you should no longer be the person who was overwhelmed by life and ready to run. Instead, you should be uplifted, you should be assured, you should be confident that if the answer hasn't already come by the time you come out of meditation, you know within yourself that it's going to be there soon. Physician, heal thyself. You know, our minds are so much more powerful than we can imagine. And that power can be used to destroy us, I'm afraid, if it's used in the wrong way. But wonderfully, that power can be used to elevate us to a higher state of consciousness that can support our lives in a very positive way. You know, there's a marvelous tool that we can use to help us reconnect, to remind us that we're not alone. We're not out here by ourselves, because help is always waiting. You know, that tool, that tool that I'm talking about is the 23rd Psalm. It's very powerful. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Forever. So, remember who you are. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. And so on those bad days, which you will have because everybody has them and it is all part of the process, but on those bad days, it is incumbent upon you to remember who you are. Remember who you are. Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing all of us together in this life so that we may become spiritual warriors and join in the work we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we're beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. As we become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise, because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we are now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain we have caused to ourselves, And as we learn to forgive those who have inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this, we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. Thank you for watching. So glad to have you here. Please remember to click on the thumbs up button if you haven't already done so. Please choose to subscribe. I'd love to hear from you, your comments, your thoughts, your questions, your suggestions. So please use the comment section below the video. And you can support this ministry by going to my website, bozemandevelopment.com, and clicking on the Please Donate tab. Also, if you choose to use Cash App, you can do so by going to the tag $Andre Amaron. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, remember, I am Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind.